It's a Hyundai Elantra 2011. I'm going to be addressing the P0335. I already pulled the code and just took a picture of it because I cleared the code and see if there was any obvious signs it'll come back or anything, but I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. That's the code right there in the history. P0335 crankshaft position circuit A. So let's go back. Chat making all types of noises. All right, so to access it is I'm gonna have to get on the car. It's gonna be right around the starter area. I really do want to hook up an oscilloscope, but I'm really pressed for time today because I really want to see what's going on with it, if there's any differences before or after. I'll consider it, but I still would like to do like a resistance value test. They really don't work that well when you pull them out and you test the resistance. Really don't, but you know, more than likely it's like an intermittent issue with this vehicle. So it's a lot of things that could cause the crank position sensor to go bad or cause intermittent stalling, such as poor connections, excessive clearance. I've had on Hyundais before where it would just get hot and melt the head of it. The body gets hot enough, it'll melt, and it's plastic, it'll just start to recede. It'll shrink up. It's bound to do anything depending on gravity. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to be, what it's going to look like when I pull it out. But obviously says it was stalling at some point while it's out. If it's obvious that the sensor may have some type of obstruction in the front of it, like accumulation of metal particulates, that'll cause an interruption in signal. So it's a lot of things, but I'm gonna hop up under here, we'll take a look at it and start pulling the sensor out. I pulled the splash guard down from under the vehicle here just so we can get a better view of it. But it was just 10 millimeter bolts around here, like there, that I pulled out. So, but anyway, the crank sensor we're in the front of the motor. See if I can get a view myself. All right, so we're in the front of the engine. There's the starter right there. And here's our crank sensor. There's the bolt retaining the crank sensor right there. So just simply, really quick, just follow this harness all the way up. You'll find out where the connector is located, which looks like it's right here. Oh shucks. Damn light. I got it hanging on the oil filter. So it's gonna be this doohickey right there. So this is a VR sensor. So I guess a 2-wire. Oh shucks. It's a 2-wire sensor. It's not doesn't have a 5-volt reference or anything. It just generates its own signal based off the rotational speed of the crank. So I ain't too familiar with these. Either way, if I look at the waveform, it'll generate like a alternating signal versus a square wave. So, but again, these still don't go bad like that. They don't do nothing. So I'm curious to see if there's any type of issue with the head of the sensor. Hopefully I'm getting a good angle of this, but we'll see what I can do. Take this 10 here. Pull that out. So this is what I was saying. Like on the head of it, sometimes metal can get on there. It's got a little bit on there right now, a little gritty, but it's, you know, they could contribute to interference and get mixed signals. But I'm gonna get those little retainers disconnected, get it out, and get it installed in reverse order. We can take a look at it now. So like I said, I mean, sometimes they'll melt. Let me get a paper towel right quick. So like I was saying, sometimes they could melt and get metal on the head of the sensor here, and this is the portion that reads off the crank. I don't know how tough things are, but if depending on how frugal you are, you can probably just wipe it off and put it back in and see if it helps. But you know, who knows? It might work. I mean, it could be a lot of things cause this. Gosh, a number of things. Again, I mean, it could be connector problems, which the connector looks fine. Doesn't look like any type of corrosion or anything around here. Could be wiring related. I'll slide this harness off. I mean, it's insulated, and these generally will be insulated. I mean, they're going to have like probably like a particular insulator around the wire to prevent radio frequency noise, because it is a frequency like that's generated. So I mean, I'm pretty sure it needs every clear interpretation as it possibly can for the computer to process all that. And being that it has like a alternating wave, if it is rigid or some interference with it, I mean, it's not going to know what to do with it. I mean, it can cause a misfire. So, but yeah, basically this generates a frequency, and it needs that. So if changing the sensor a couple times don't work, because I know we do, you know, you can get a bad sensor. It could be an issue with insulation from the harness going from this connector here to the PCM. If it's not insulated properly, it was getting some type of noise. So it isn't just as simple as just replacing the sensor, but being that this is the pickup, this is the gateway from the engine going to the computer. I mean, this is pretty integral. I guess it's like, you know, let's just go ahead and shoot a sensor on there. But yeah, enough ranting. I'm gonna go to O'Reilly's, get me a new sensor. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a standard product, and I'll get that back in there. From O'Reilly's, it's an import direct. Surprisingly, it's in this little baggie. We're gonna check the resistance value. Found the specifications for this sensor. Oh shit! Screwing up. I'm knocking over the camera. So the ohm's supposed to be around 770 and 960. Not that bright. I know that's 20,000, so I think we're gonna leave it on. Let me just put it on auto, just in case. I'm not that bright when it comes to some of these circuits, so don't hold me on it, man. It'll auto adjust. Auto. All right, so we got 967 kilo ohms. So that, by the standards of Identifix, is in its high end range. All right, we're going to test this new one. Hopefully this should be in a lower tolerance versus the other one. It's 915. All right, I'm going to switch them around just to see if there's any difference. 915 still. So, don't know if that's much, but the thing with resistance value testing is you're not going to get like a consistent value. Temperature does have an effect, so you'll ideally want both sensors to be at the same temperature. So, but we got a new one, and we're gonna go ahead and install this in reverse order. Let's see if there's any obvious differences. But other than that, the replacement for this was pretty cut and dry. You jack the car up. There's a 10 millimeter. You have this connector here. You just squeeze and pull out, and then of course the main connector going to the harness. Other than that, I mean, it's literally don't take but half an hour from start to finish. Should be it. I'm gonna take it for a test drive, make sure this light doesn't resurface again, which, despite going on test drives, it's not gonna happen with me. If it's something that does happen, it's gonna happen with the customer. Sure is. But I tell you what, you're not gonna know if you're not informed. So subscribe, hit that link, stay informed, have that reassurance of my work, blah blah blah. So on to the next one.